Hey, good morning. Man, my hair looks horrible. I look like Ace Ventura or something. Hope you guys are doing great. I typically don't make a video in the car, but I wanted to make a video for you real quick this morning. Basically, I had a really good conversation with a carrier that I've been working with for maybe like 9 months for 2024. Today it is February 1st of 2025. And 2024 was a great year for trucking. 2025 is going to be even better. I'm expecting a 5% to a 15% growth compared to 2024 at a minimum for the 2025 year in trucking. I think it's going to be a great year. And January came to a close. Had a lot of people, tons of people talk to this month and for the month of January, and it was a good month. It helped a lot of people get their trucking company up and running their first loads, making the first $5,000 in a week. It was a great month. I hope February is just as good, and looking forward to working with more people that are trying to start their trucking company and trying to become part of the network with everybody that's on my team. But I had a really good conversation with a carrier this week, and I wanted to share that with you. Basically, he called me. I've been working with him for like 9 months. He has been borrowing another carrier that is a friend of ours, his MC number, to slide on while he's getting his MC number up, and he's just kind of operating. We're letting him borrow that MC number to be underneath of him. And if you need that assistance, reach out to us. We're happy to get you connected, so you can use an MC number that's a little bit older. Anyway, conversation. Give me a call. We can talk about that. But anyway, he's like, "Hey, Paul, I have my one truck, and I wanted to chit chat with you, brainstorm, and let's talk about 2025. What kind of advice, what kind of experience, what kind of perspective can you give me for planning for growth for my trucking company for the 2025 year and beyond? Can you chit chat with me for a moment, and let's kind of go over those details?" And I was like, "Yeah, let's dive into it." And I was kind of really just breaking down to him from my experience, my perspective, and everything that I've done. You kind of have to view almost like each truck is sort of like a mini franchise, or maybe each truck is kind of like it's a vending machine. It's over there in that location, and that's how much it produces. And I kind of use that as a comparison analogy to sort of paint a picture, giving you puzzle pieces to think about. It doesn't have to be a parallel, but it's constructive to help you think about it in that way. It's a franchise. It's its own thing. For the case and point in regards to this gentleman that I work with, his name is Grant, and his brother-in-law drives his 26-foot box truck. And I'm just like, okay, so let's go over the parameters. You know what your expenses are, you know what the financing is for the truck. He has purchased it outright, so he has no monthly payment anymore. But previously he just recently did that. But he knew his profit and loss, his income and his expenses, and knowing your numbers is incredibly important. And everybody's different. Everybody has a different credit score. Everybody has a different down payment. Everybody has a different year, make, model, mileage, age, history of a truck. It's different. But what are your variables that you can see, know, control? And then what are your variables that are outside of your control? And really talking to Grant, this carrier that I've been working with, outstanding guy, and it's been a pleasure working with him and him being a part of my network and working with everybody that I work with that's listed on the website. I was really telling him, Grant, you're quite lucky, you're quite fortunate. Your brother-in-law is sort of a variable that is not really a variable. And when I say that with the thought process of he's your brother-in-law. He's family. We all know sometimes doing business with family is not great. And sometimes it is great. It just depends on the family sometimes, and depends on the relationship. But without me rambling, sorry, I know you know that I talk a lot and I try to be fast and to the point. It's like, well, you got your brother-in-law driving the truck, and how does he do? Well, he does a pretty good job. He does a B plus to an A minus job. Sometimes he messes up, and as we all do, I forgot to get the receiver to sign the bill of POD, the proof of delivery, or I forgot to get the shipper to sign the bill of lading, and is to go back and get it signed or whatever. It's a common thing as long as you can remember to do it within driving 30 minutes that way, and then go back and get it signed. Anyway, hopefully it doesn't happen too often. But it's like he does a B plus to an A minus job. He does well. I was like, okay, that's great. Well, part of the growth for the business for 2025, it's really thinking about it from the perspective of, okay, it's not rocket science. This is trucking. it's time to buy a second truck. Okay, well, you need to know this is what this truck makes you right now. This is what its income has been for the past 3 weeks, 3 months, 6 months, and knowing what that income has been with the performance of the truck, and also knowing what kind of expenses have taken place. What are the general expenses? Insurance, fuel, general maintenance, things like that, and being able to catalog those and being like, okay, I have a general rough estimate. This is what the income has been on average, and these are what the expenses have been on average. But then something that comes into the perspective, and then I say this in regards to his brother-in-law, which is a great guy to be driving the truck, because typically most gentlemen and most women that are starting their trucking company, it's like, well, we need to hire a driver. Well, I can help out with driver recruiting. I do that. That's part of the fold of the stuff that I do. But it's really tricky. And I say that in regards to, it's kind of the magic number 4. What I mean by that is you're going to hire 1, 2, 3 drivers. The 4th one's going to be good. And you could hire a driver, they do a good job for 1 week, and then they're gone. You could hire the second driver, they hang out for 2 months, and they're just gone. Then you hire a third driver, they're there for maybe 3 days, maybe 3 weeks, and then they're gone. But then on the 4th one, that's somebody that is a driver that is consistently able to operate the truck and be reliable and do the work. And that's the variable that I have found in terms of giving him advice and perspective, in terms of growth of the company. It's like, hey, this is great. You got your job. He works for an oil company in Houston, Texas. And, you got your job, you're hustling, and you saved up some money, you bought a truck, your brother-in-law drives it, it's generating X amount of income monthly. You know what your expenses are. You just paid it off after being in business. I think he's been in business. He's had this truck for maybe 9 months. Maybe it's been 6 months. I don't remember. But it's been a big chunk of time that I've been working with him in 2024, and really driving that nail home with the conversation with him. You got to kind of think about it like a franchise, or kind of like it's its own independent vending machine. Each truck is different, because what is the variable that is outside of your control? He's got a lot of control because it's his brother-in-law. He knows him, has a personal relationship with him. He's not just an employee, he's a partner in the business. But when it comes to growing and expanding, because that's how you grow a trucking company, you got to buy another truck. And really, if you want to make $1 million in the trucking game, I believe you only need 4 or 5 box trucks, and you could be bringing in $1 million a year. I think it's 5 box trucks. That's all you really need, according to the 2024 numbers. But I wanted to kind of share this with you real quick, because again, it's life. There's so many things that are within our control, that those are the things that we should stress out about. And then there's things that are not within our control, and yet we stress out about those things, and learning how to dial it back and not stress out about things that you can't control. You know that, I know that. Easier said than done, right? We're all working on it. But especially from a trucking perspective and growing a trucking business, it's a strong bullet point to be in the forefront of your mind, to think about, okay, when we grow and we expand, driver recruiting, and getting that person in the truck, and then being responsible and smart, and they show up on time, and they do what they say they're going to do, the workforce. And if you need help with the driver recruiting, I help out with that. That's part of my team. That's what we do. So we can do all that for you. Basically, it's a set it and forget it. You buy the truck, throw it over to us. We can hire the drivers. We can book the loads. We process the payment, freight factoring. I have my insurance contacts, compliance. Again, compliance is like gravity, guys. You cannot avoid it. And I've said that as a broken record. You can't avoid it. Compliance is like gravity. You just can't avoid it. I have an amazing compliance girl. Reach out to her on the website. Anyway, I don't want to make this too much longer than it needs to be, but I wanted to kind of share an insightful, educational perspective with you that you should consider in terms of, okay, it's time to grow. What are things that I need to think in and keep in mind? And I would say one of the most challenging things, really, it's not to get the money for the down payment for the next truck, or to have the capital, or if you're going to buy it with cash, or wonder about what the insurance cost is or the fuel, and watch all my other videos when I talk about insurance and fuel. The fuel card scams, there's an order of operation to this. You do the factoring first and then you do the fuel card. If you do the fuel card first, they bait and switch you and they throw the factoring in there and you have some crazy percentage in a 12-month contract. There again, if I can tell you to learn from my mistakes and learn from my experiences, again, I'm not the smartest guy out there or the sharpest crown in the crown box, but I've made plenty of mistakes and I've done a pretty good job of learning from them. Some not so much, but we're all growing, right? So anyway, I'll leave the video there. I hope this was educational, informative, thought-provoking to help you strategize, brainstorm for the future. Give me a call. Hope to hear from you soon, and catch you on the next video. Bye.